Welcome to CSC Chat, the streaming broadcast that provides a refreshing and insightful look at events, activities, and people within the Chadron State College community. I'm your host, Julian Berrian, Associate Professor of Communication Arts. With us today is Dr. Shaunda French-Collins, who serves as a Professor of Public Relations and Advertising within Chadron State College's Communication Arts program. Dr. French-Collins has taught at Chadron State since 2011. During her second year at the college, she implemented the practice of a community outreach project known as the Big Event. Since its implementation here in Chadron, the day-long outreach project has generated much positive publicity and helped forge meaningful relationships within the community at large. Dr. French-Collins is here to discuss the Big Event, which will take place on April 26th, 2025, here in Chadron, Nebraska. Dr. French-Collins, welcome to CSC Chat.
Thank you for having me today.
Thank you for coming. We're going to pick your brain about the Big Event and hopefully get our listeners interested in the upcoming event. So I'm going to start off by asking you, what exactly does the Big Event in Chadron involve and how often does it happen?
The Big Event in Chadron entails a lot of event planning from our fantastic student-led staff. It is held every April, and then we also have a mini Big Event in the fall, which I'm happy to share a little bit about as well later in this interview if you would like. But it is held annually. Every spring we give back to the community, and by we I mean students, faculty, and staff.
Okay, and that is a perfect segue into my next question. Johnathan Prouty, one of my co-producers, asked who is eligible to participate as a volunteer. Just students and staff members? Are community members eligible as well, or is it just limited to staff and students?
We really try to focus on solely CSC students, faculty, and staff because we want to say thank you to those community members the day of the big events. And so that is really who we try to keep our volunteers limited to.
Okay. What about the work sites themselves? What are some criteria or eligibility requirements in order for a business or an organization or a resident to be a work site?
So the great thing about the Big Event is it is truly a day for CSC students, faculty, and staff to simply say thank you to the community. And with that, there are no specific requirements. We have safety obligations, so there are certain jobs that we obviously can't take. But in terms of anyone applying to potentially be a job site, we accept any and all requests. And then, like I said, if they meet our safety requirements, then we will accept them.
Okay, excellent. And approximately how many work sites have volunteered to be work sites?
We have annually typically about 50 job sites per big event.
Oh, wow.
Some years it's a few more, some years it's a few less, but on average, especially the last few years post-2020, I would say approximately 50 job sites.
And I'm assuming that's during the big event. Now, during the mini big event, which is typically held in the fall.
Yes.
Smaller scale?
Yes, absolutely. Just compared to its name, it's the mini event. And so typically with that one, it's between 5 and 10 job sites.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And that's basically to sort of whet the appetite of the students and to get them acclimated to what is to come in the spring, correct?
Yes, absolutely. And to get our student-led staff understanding all that goes into truly the big event itself, and to give them a chance to volunteer as well because they are busy on the day of the big event doing a lot of behind-the-scenes work.
Ah, okay. I want to delve a little bit into the history of the big event. I understand that it did not originate here in Chadron, but in fact it originated at Texas A&M in 1982 and began expanding to other places, other schools, colleges, universities around 1990. Is that correct?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. And that brings me to the follow-up question. What made you decide to implement the big event here at Chadron State College around 2013, I believe.
So, Julian, you mentioned that the big event began to expand to other schools, and one of those schools was actually where I received my PhD from, which was the University of Southern Mississippi. And I was fortunate that part of my doctoral assistantship was helping start the big event at Southern Miss. And I saw the impact it could make in the community. I saw how amazing it was for the university to give back to the Hattiesburg and Gulf Park areas. And I just thought this is something, when I interviewed here at Chadron State, I thought this is something I would love to implement at CSC as well, just because I'd seen the impact that it has on the community and just bridging those campus community relationships.
Was it difficult at first to recruit job sites? Because that had never happened here before you arrived. So were they a bit taken aback at first?
You know, I don't think they were taken back. We had some wonderful, those early years, we had some really motivated students that really wanted to spread the word of the big event and get the community involved. And so I think people were mostly just surprised that truly anyone could apply to be a job site.
Oh, excellent. Okay. Another one of my co-producers, Eben Rosentrater, has submitted the following question. He asks, what is the main selling point for students to participate? As a student, we tend to get so caught up in busy work and have little time to volunteer. So what other than the feel-good aspect of volunteering itself makes participation valuable for students?
Eben, I think this is a really good question, and you took my first answer, which is research shows that when you volunteer, it does good not only for the feel-good aspect, as you mentioned. So do good, feel good is something that I explain in my event planning and leadership class. But the other thing that I would say is it's great on your resume. It's a good resume builder. And I also think that you can learn a lot of life lessons that day in terms of potential conflict might occur, but coming together, maybe improving your leadership if you want to be a job site leader. But again, I would say there's numerous reasons along with not only the leadership component, but the resume building, and then I always joke free Subway and a t-shirt as well.
So those are some nice perks, folks. You get Subway, a nice Subway sandwich, and a good t-shirt as well. I'd like to know a little bit about what goes into the planning, when it starts, and can you give us a sort of a timeline of the events or activities leading up to the big event?
Yes, so a lot of preparation goes into it, and I think that's something that sometimes people don't understand is when you are trying to place 400, 500, 600 volunteers into 50 plus job sites, it takes a lot of attention to detail. So we have a big event graduate assistant. His name is Sutton Pullman. And then we also have approximately 10 additional students that are on staff that were interviewed in the fall in September and accepted these roles, everything from working on maybe our marketing and advertising to our outreach and community relations, to helping ensure job site checks and job site placement goes well. So we do a lot, and by we, I mean truly the students do a lot of work that I think is possibly not always seen or known. And I think people think sometimes they just show up the day of the big event, that things just happened this past week, but it's months of preparation.
I know I've seen you all have meetings as early as, September, maybe October?
Yes. Because we start with the mini big event, but we also start brainstorming, okay, what promotional events do we want to do in the spring? What do we really want to focus on? We look at the past year's big event job site evaluations and speak with past volunteers to get feedback. So we already know areas that we want to improve upon this year in April.
Oh, wow. Okay. So it's an all year thing. Planning doesn't happen the week before, folks, or even the month before. It happens the semester before. So they put a lot of love and a lot of planning into it. And for the most part, it is unfolded without a hitch, right?
For the most part.
Okay.
I always say, no event is perfect, but as long as things go smoothly and you keep safety as the priority and, do those proactive things you need to do in event planning, then I would say it's a success.
All right. Excellent. Taylor Burch, another one of my co-producers, has the following question for you. Taylor wants to know how being a part of the big event has impacted you personally.
For me personally, I just have such great admiration for the students that help lead it every year, because I think people, again, I know I've said this several times, don't realize how much time and effort goes into planning it. And so for me, it's just that admiration. It encourages me to give back and to volunteer more. And then also just the lifelong relationships since we started it in 2013. For instance, we have a reoccurring job site that happens every year. I went to this individual's 90th birthday party this past fall. And I was thrilled that him and his wife even thought to invite me. But it was those relationships we build. We have annual job sites of people that come back, and it's wonderful to see them each spring and just to catch up and see how they're doing still. It's been a wonderful impact personally.
So, a person who turned 90,
yes,
correct?
Yes.
I also understand there's a centenarian whose yard is often swept or raked by the students. Can you tell us a little bit about her?
Yes, and she has been a job site since 2013 and just loves the big event. And so I always get excited when we see her job site application come through because, yes, I believe she's either 103 or 104, still living at home. But wow. And that's the purpose. She loves the college. She loves the students. And so we can, that one or 2 days she typically participates in mini big event as well. That's what our mission is to say thank you to individuals like that.
Excellent. Oh, that's so gratifying.
Mm-hmm.
In your mind, Dr. French-Collins, what is the future of the big event here in Chadron in particular? Do you foresee it expanding beyond just one day, or what's on the horizon for the big event?
I think that the future has so many possibilities in terms of, I really ask the student staff every year, like, what do you want to do with this year's big event? And I think sometimes people think it will come down to more volunteers or more job sites, but really we want more quality volunteers and quality job sites. And by that, we had one of our largest years in terms of volunteer and job sites. When we got back the evaluations, they were actually our lowest in terms of what people saw that year. And so for me, after that and speaking with other institutions that hold a big event, that was a good year for us to learn some lessons and to possibly overstaff job sites and overserve. And so, I think every year the future of the big event depends on what the students have in mind that year and what they want to prioritize. Like I said, they've got a couple areas this year that they want to improve upon from last year. And so I don't know if it'll happen one day per semester. I think there's so many possibilities. I think it just comes down to truly this is a student-led event. And so it just depends on what those students involved each year want to be their goal or goals. Okay.
So I guess they're the fuel that helps the engine run. So it's really up to them. Okay. And we're near the end of the interview, but I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you this last question. And folks at home, or wherever you're listening, grab a pen, grab a pencil, grab your smartphones, because you may want to jot down this information. Dr. French-Collins, where can people go for more information about the big event?
They can go to the Big Events website, which is csc.edu/thebigevent, or they can call my phone number, office phone number, which is 432-6302. Okay. So we are excited that is coming sooner rather than later, and we're ready to get people signed up however they want to be involved in the big event.
Okay, you heard that, folks. You can visit that website. You can call Dr. French-Collins for more information. Dr. French-Collins, thank you for joining us. And we'd like to thank you, the listeners, for tuning in to this exclusive CSC Chat interview, co-produced by Taylor Burch, Johnathan Prouty, and Eben Rosentrater. Thank you.